These mics are sick.
Yeah, we got them custom painted.
They're super cool.
We'll bring Craig. No, dude, not again. Not again. Dior, this is
Is that Ryan?
This is Ryan. He plays the assistant sailor to Canlis.
Hey.
Don't sit down, not on the couch, please.
Nah,
By the way,
this is my guy.
this is Dior. Don't encourage this. This is Dior. She plays our Clarisse. We can have a one-on-one. I'm sorry. Just can we hold for a second? We don't have to cut. We don't have to do tails. But can we just hold for a second, please?
Hey, be nice.
No, I hear you. Just over here. Yeah. Okay. Inside voice. Inside voice. What is your issue? Okay, I'm hearing you. You want... Okay, I don't have the jurisdiction to make you a full satyr. Whoa! You can't say that. This is a Disney show. There are children watching. You're gonna get me fired.
Hey.
Seriously, don't.
I missed
don't
you.
Talk to him. Don't talk to him.
How are you doing? Okay. What's been going on? Tell me. Okay. I'm gonna be so honest. I have no idea what you just said.
He
Can you
wants.
translate? You speak it, right?
Yeah, I do. He wants to become a full satyr.
Okay.
He's trying to say that he's ready, but he's not.
He's fully grown.
Well, okay, I understand that he's a grown man.
He's like 6 feet taller than me.
Okay, first of all, he's like maybe a couple inches taller than me. if anything.
7.
No, you're not that much taller. Get out of my set, please.
Love you. I'll see you soon. Talk to you next week.
Hi, welcome back to episode 3 of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians official podcast. This is a very important episode to me, even though I'm not in it, as I'm sure it is to many of you, finally getting to see the Ironclad for the first time. But the reason this is such an important episode for me to talk about is because I was there the entire time, even though I wasn't on camera. I was traineeing under the camera department. They taught me how to hold the Steadicam. They taught me how to wield the big, massive crane so I could do all the Ironclad shots. They taught me how to focus pull. They taught me how to slate. And it taught me everything I could have ever needed to know about what the camera crew does. And it makes it so that way I don't have to think about it when I'm acting. But without further ado, our first guest on is someone who understands that better than me, probably, because she trained under them more than I did. Dior Goodjohn, our Clarisse.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on because you, I think of all the people I've ever worked with, have the most intense preparation and dedication.
Thank you.
To this project. And that's something I want to get into right away because I feel like with you, small talk is not gonna cut it.
That's enough. I mean, what everybody will come to learn, I feel like, about our relationship is just like all the small talk is out the window.
Yeah, it
Straight
is.
to the big beans.
I wanted to talk about kind of a huge thing for this season. This is the first time we ever break away from the trio's interaction together. I mean, we always follow one of them in season 1. It's either Percy and Annabeth solo or Grover solo or all 3 of them. And this is the first time we follow anybody who's not in the trio for like a full side of the story.
I know, that is very true.
Clarisse. You have full authority to deliver justice to these outlaws if you encounter them on your quest.
It was a lot of prep work with Andrew and just figuring out really what it was for me was figuring out what her memories were. That was the biggest part of it all. Figuring out what her kind of like somatic response to like everything and everyone around her was gonna be was the most important thing, I feel like, for developing her this season.
What did you land on for her memories? Like how did those inform her, as you said, somatic response to everybody around her?
We don't really know much about Clarisse aside from the fact that her dad is Aries and she is from Arizona. And
I was born in Arizona.
No, like we know she's from Arizona, all these things. And really what it was like, okay, when did I actually get to camp and what was that like? So I landed on like I got there when I was 8 and I've been a year rounder and this has been my life and everything that I know. And I don't really have too many memories of my mom or anything like this. But what I do remember from her was that she was gentle and sweet and kind and like the complete opposite of my dad.
Interesting.
Which gives her that it sets her up to become the person that she's going to be in season 2.
Yeah.
Because again, because we don't know so much about her, we have Aries as like her North Star. And you can totally see that in her too. But she has a really big bleeding heart that no one knows about and she doesn't like to talk about because it's her biggest weakness, which she thinks to be her fatal flaw.
Yeah.
It's like he's just this like very like manly, aggressive, garara like kind of guy. And he ends up falling and having a kid with a woman that's like totally like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of very similar to Aphrodite in that sense.
Most wars are started. One of the most famous wars was started after Helen of Troy. This like gorgeous woman.
Over beauty, over love,
Over
all
beauty,
of
over
the
love.
things.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, but there's a lot to her this season, I think, that I'm very, very excited for people to see. The big thing that I'm excited for people to see is just to watch her become a well-rounded demigod. You get to see all of her facets and actually understand her brain and her reasons why, because it's really easy to like hate her. I hated her.
It is very, very easy to kind of hate Clarisse because we can't see her from anything other than Percy's arguably unreliable narration.
Yeah, no, that part. Let's talk about that for a second.
Let's talk about it.
Because why Percy be lying on everybody?
Why do we have to
Everybody.
trust what he says?
Why? We don't have to, and that's why we have the show.
Exactly.
Thank God, because
Exactly.
I hated Clarisse. I really did. I was a Clarisse hater. We out here.
Yeah.
But like show Clarisse is so different. But I feel like all of the characters are just they're same but different, and we all know that. But like Clarisse and Luke too. Like both of these guys.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's very, very. They were designed. They served their purpose extremely well.
I want to hear more about that parallel.
So this is what I'm saying is that it's like both Clarisse and Luke served their purposes so well in the book. They did exactly what they needed to do. But when it comes to the show, the thing about it is like how we're breaking away from Percy's perspective, the cool thing that I think is, yes, it's from the eyes of Clarisse, the eyes of Luke, the eyes of Grover, but really what it is like the fans watching, it's from their POV.
Yeah.
So they get to really decide and like make the active decisions to be like, I like them, I don't like how they did this, I don't like how they did this. And like it's like a choose your own adventure
you're not
key.
you're not getting a biased opinion on each character.
Exactly. You get to really form your own opinion. And what was so cool for me, like kind of just watching Clarisse grow and as watching like Luke grow is understanding that like there are no bad guys. Like it really is the thing, like there are no villains, there are no bad guys, because the thing about the villain is what makes them so good at, you know, being so evil is the fact that they have real kind of like there's real valor and merit behind like what they're doing in their head. Like to them, they're doing the right thing. So like that's why the whole thing with Luke is like he's so good at being evil because he really believes that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then the thing with Clarisse is like, she's so good at being aggressive and mean and all of this stuff because she believes that this is how the world works and that's how you get what you need from people. And like me being mean and aggressive, that's not me hurting someone. This is me, you know, I love you. That's why I'm yelling at you.
Hey, I'm talking to you maggots. We've got a lot of ocean to cover and not a lot of time. So, move.
And you don't question it until you go through your kind of adolescence, and that's the thing about this show is everybody's going through their kind of adolescent journey right then and there. So you get to watch them all. I mean, we're watching all the characters grow up, but we're also watching ourselves grow up at the same time. Because when did we start?
Crazy. I started
How
this
old were
show.
you?
I started the show when I was 15.
Yeah,
15
no.
turning 16.
It's wild. I was like around the same age as you.
Yeah.
It was like we were
Crazy.
little. Like think about that. That's so
Yeah.
crazy. And the reason why I mention it is because I feel like Clarisse and I were going through a very, very similar arc in our lives at the same time. So me being able to play her season 2 at the time that it was happening was better than therapy. It was the most kind of just amazing, transformative experience of my life. And I'm so grateful that I got to do it because I was going through not phase, but a period in my life where I was learning what it meant to actually set boundaries and like what it meant to critically think in my own way, not in the way of like how like my parents taught me or how I learned from like this person or that person.
Interesting.
And I feel like she was going through a very, very similar thing.
She goes through exactly the same thing in this season.
Right. So I mean, I don't know how much of what I did was acting.
Well, that's where some of the best performances come from.
Yeah.
Not to mention your Braveheart speech.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I know that it was like, I wasn't there for it. I mean, I was interning, but it is kind of the first time that we see Clarisse understand, especially that beautiful, sorry, now I'm rambling.
No, go for it.
But you
I
have
love
that
it.
beautiful moment before you actually start the speech where you kind of say like, you say something along the lines of like,
You're all losers,
yeah,
right?
you're all losers, right? But you say it under your breath, and so they hear you and they assume that you're talking to them, but that might not necessarily be the case.
Aren't you tired of losing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful that you didn't, that you left it up to interpretation.
You're all losers, right? You owe debt to the god of war because you failed in battle. But let me ask you guys, what do you owe to yourselves?
But it's the first time that we see her not be able to yell or shout or fight out of her problems.
Exactly.
And she actually has to deal with them head on, which I think is ironically the scariest thing for Clarisse.
Absolutely. I mean, isn't that the scariest thing for everybody?
Yeah.
Like, you never want to do that. Most people are afraid of confrontation. I mean, the people that are not, I mean, even the people that I know that are very like, that they just go for it and they love confronting situations and people, they do it because it's scary, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense at all?
No, it does.
But like, it's gonna be scary either way, so I might as well do it.
Yeah.
And the thing about it with her,
There's never not fear motivating
Never.
confrontation.
and so the whole thing about it with it's all set up in that scene in the galley where they're doing the
Yeah.
and they all kind of ignore her.
We set a course for the Sea of Monsters. Coordinates 31, 37, north by 56, 12, west.
Trafalgar, sung by the British.
Grand Port, sung by the French.
Hey!
I mean, you leave that situation like as Clarisse, and also too like as a girl on this giant ship with all these like, I mean, not to be rude, but old men. Like
No, like
just,
hundreds of millennia years
just
old.
completely ignoring you. And then you had, I mean, your dad like set you up to fail because he's like, oh, well, she's never been on a quest before and you guys better listen to her. And it's like, Dad, like, it's not even like, Dad, come on. It's more like, I can do this. Like, have I not been proving myself to you my entire life, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're just completely undermined and you kind of, we don't see what happens when she walks out of that galley, but you kind of go away and you're like, why is this not working? Like, am I not good enough? What am I doing wrong? And I think what I decided had happened for her in that moment there is you plant the seed of like two choices put in front of you, and you can either make the decision to kind of self-loathe and be in that loop, that endless loop, and it just keeps going and going, or you can actually make a change and do something about it. And so that seed kind of gets planted in the time between that scene in the galley and then that scene on the aft of the ship, and like, boom, it sprouts, and she goes, aren't you tired of losing?
Maybe this is more than just another tour of duty. Maybe this is a second chance to change how you're seen, to change your fate. You all have that chance right now to become the heroes who found the golden fleece.
I think what it is she's, instead of choosing to self-hate and be like, I'm not good enough, she's like, well, you know what, clearly this isn't working, and let's stick it to my dad.
Yeah.
His way doesn't work. My whole life I thought I had to do everything his way, and it doesn't work. And it's kind of liberating. It's liberating to know that and be like, huh.
Totally.
So I can do something different. Why not? Let's try it. And then that's what happens.
Well, there's that beautiful line when you like meet him. And sorry, I've been saying beautiful a lot. I mean, it is.
I love it when you say beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
But there is that beautiful line where you see him for the first time and you're like, I'm humbled by your presence. And he's like, humble's for losers. But if you didn't bow, he would have like smited you or something.
Exactly.
There's like no winning.
Lord Ares, Father, I am humbled by your presence.
Humble's for losers. Get up.
That scene was a lot. There was a,
Also, just working with Adam.
yo, first of all, he's amazing.
He's amazing.
You would totally think he's just like this like Rottweiler of, actually no, that's actually perfect. Rottweiler is the best way that I can describe Adam,
Yeah,
because
I see that.
like they're aggressive, like you think they're mean, but like they smile when they pant. Like that's like the whole thing. So
yeah.
like you think he's all grr, and he is, but he's like the sweetest guy in the world, and he has
He's
like
such
two
a
little
funny,
girls.
like family man.
Oh yeah, he's such a dad.
Whenever I think about the children of Ares, I always think about those twins, you know, those like guy twins.
Yeah.
I can't really recall like a prominent female child of Ares, which is why I'm so happy that
we have a Clarisse, right?
Is so prominent.
This is the thing. She does so much for like, I mean, I don't want to say for the culture, but she does so much like for like the like little girls out there. So much where I just feel like to be able to have representation, because first of all, also too, there's so many kids going through the same thing that she's going through, and I know this because I was one of those kids, and you never have representation for situations like parent-child relationships like that in shows like this. You always see relationships like that in shows that are far more like dark and far more kind of just like a kid wouldn't be watching a show like that. So then you go through your entire like childhood life being like, well, I'm the only one going through this and blah, 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 and kind of feeling singled out. And I think I'm just really, really grateful that Clarisse exists because, again, like her arc this season is so wild. She goes through this entire transformation where we all love to hate her in the beginning. Like, of course, we love hating Clarisse. That's the whole thing. And then she kind of grows into this person. She completely transforms and just grows into this almost like lovable character that you're like, huh, I think I might actually like her. And the big thing that makes me happy that she exists is that the kids that are going through what she's going through get to actually watch her change and kind of see that, okay, it can get better and it most likely will because it did for her. And I think that's the most, it lends itself to how amazing the writers are.
When you return to the underworld, it won't be to Asphodel. It won't be to the fields of punishment. You will be exalted in the fields of Elysium. Who's with me? Then let's get this floating hunk of pig iron on the move.
Aye, Captain!
Okay, and now we have our next guest on, our executive producer, showrunner, and writer, Craig Silverstein.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to talk about Mitch's backstory. Why an
Blockbuster
undead
Mitch.
employee?
Blockbuster Mitch.
Blockbuster.
Well, it started with the whole thing of, we didn't want to do, in the book, they're all Confederate soldiers.
Yeah.
And so what does Clarisse say, which we also took from the book, that the soldiers who die, who lose in battle, owe a debt of service to Ares.
Who are they?
These losers, those are your line officers. Raise them from the grave, too.
Those defeated in battle owe a debt of service to Ares.
You'd think I'd get the winners, but no. Anyway, soldier, it's your time to shine.
So that opened us up to all soldiers throughout all time
All
and all
history,
losing
all
battles.
points, yeah.
And then we're like, oh my God, we can just do any, throughout time and have this
I mean, that must
motley
be
crew.
a writer's dream.
It was great. And we
Yeah.
had all this research into all these losing battles and stuff. And it got, we were trying to say, we could have like this British redcoat and this Viking and this Russian steamship guy who went down. And then Tamara wrote the episode, pitched, what about this guy who, is a Blockbuster guy and he went down in the streaming wars because Blockbuster has streaming wars. And she was always pitching kind of this style of jokes that were like great, but like maybe like a little outside of what we thought, could fit in the tone of the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yes. Now we have it. We have it all.
I know.
And she
Tamara
went,
got her
"What?" She
piece.
was like, yes. She loved it.
At long last.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite parts of
He
this
was awesome.
episode.
He's amazing.
He's so
amazing.
funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Funny story, I have like an entire catalog of, I have a folder just for Mitch in my phone of photos that I took of him around the ironclad. I think I need to put them out when the show comes out.
Can we cut to those, please? Can we throw them up on screen?
I know, I need to do like a little like Mitch appreciation post
And I hope
on my
people notice
Instagram.
that everyone's got a weapon and he's got his
scanner.
inventory.
Oh, yeah.
But it's sort of like holstered.
Quick fire,
Yeah.
like scanner.
I love it.
Yeah.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Yeah.
He was
What's like your
amazing.
personal favorite soldier that you think might have gone unnoticed?
I
in the
actually
actual episode?
I actually have a real soft spot for the Japanese Imperial soldier,
So do
especially
I.
because in some of the takes of the sea shanty, like they're all singing and he's kind of like,
I know,
okay.
very,
he was like
very-
nodding along, like I'm kind of into this, but I don't like these guys.
While we're on the topic of that, I know that there's a funny story behind the origination of the sea shanty,
Yes.
which when I was watching the episode, I had no idea how it came to be.
Yeah.
And it was just this fully fledged sea shanty, and I thought it was just
Great
a generic
one,
one.
yeah.
And they started singing like, "Oh, we hail, we sail from Asphodel,"
Asphodel.
and I was like, "Oh my
What?
God!"
Asphodel, yeah. Yeah, it came together. It was one of my favorite memories from season 2 because it came together on the day we were at Darrell Bay. We were shooting Ares, giving you your ironclad and your soldiers. It was raining.
It was that day?
It was that day. We were in the tents, and Jason Ensler, who directed the episode.
Love Jason.
You know, Jason was
Shout out
always.
Jason.
Do you guys remember that he would put out like a quote at the top of it was on his shot list, and sometimes
I saw it on one of the camera cards. Yeah,
He has
Okay,
the
yeah.
most intricate, amazing shot lists, by the way. But
yes,
more on that
these
later.
beautiful shot lists, and he had this quote, and it was always about the sea or something inspirational about going out to sea. And so he asked, he said, you know, when we come to this scene where Clarisse is trying to rally the troops and they're not listening to her, instead of just being kind of like down, which was, there was no singing scripted.
Yeah.
You know, he said, what if they were all singing the sea shanty? I'd love them to be
like
just doing that, to kind of, they're happy to be alive again or manning the ship, but they
Back
don't care
doing
about
what
what
they-
Clarisse is saying.
Exactly.
And so, like, okay. And Albert Kim and I were in the tent on the Notepad app, just
Of course it
creating
was you and
lyrics.
Albert.
Yeah, we created lyrics, and showed them to Dan, who sent them to Bear.
Yeah.
McCreary,
yeah.
our composer. That right then, we were all doing it. He was excited to get it, jumped onto his keyboard, his synthesizer, and kind of, made a
Fleshed out the actual music.
the song, sent it back. It was a little too like dirgy in the beginning, kind of like that. Yo, what we used like the yo. It was a bit like that, So we're like, and it's like no, more like this, and recorded on like text, or like
you guys
an
were
audio.
singing into the
Just sing.
We're throwing to that right now.
Yes.
Way ho, way yo, we toil without blanket or bed. Way ho, way yo, there ain't no rest for the dead.
One of my favorite moments written into the show now is, every season starts out with an oracle scene.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the initiation. It's always get to camp, get the oracle scene.
That's the
And
procedure.
then that is
Yeah.
the fanfare for the rest of the season, basically. That is the triumphant rollout. And Dior gets it, and I think that's awesome. And the first thing she does is cut off
Yeah.
the oracle's head.
Yeah.
I'm Clarisse, daughter of...
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Quick chop off.
Yeah, we just love I love that idea too of starting every episode 3 of every in the attic of the big house with the oracle. It kind of helped smooth the transition to this thing which we were all nervous about we're going to go completely into another POV.
Yeah.
And someone who's not
Right,
from
and
the trio.
it helped to do it by following the format of,
Exactly.
hey, if you're part of this world and you're going to go on a quest and you get selected for a quest, you go see the oracle.
Yeah.
And then everyone has a different reaction. Everyone's going to get a different prophecy, and everyone has a different reaction, like Clarisse slicing out the oracle's head.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
it was like the oracle cannot die. And it's good to establish that.
Yeah.
And that was super fun. I love the little look you give, like right after you check, you're like,
You can hear it putting its head back on,
Oh my
see it
gosh.
stitching itself back up.
Oh, I should probably
I broke
leave.
camp.
Oh,
Sorry.
I broke camp. Uh-oh. Yikes.
This is kind of a hard pivot, but I wanted to talk about something that I find very interesting this season, is that the Great Prophecy is introduced a lot earlier.
That's true.
It's only ever fully fleshed out in the 5th book.
Right.
That's the first time. I think I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But
You
that's the
hear
first
it.
time we hear it.
Right.
Yeah. But now we get a little bit more time to chew on it, and it's still never we don't get it in all of its.
You haven't heard the words.
Yeah,
yet.
we haven't heard the words, but people like Luke and people like Chiron and Annabeth, everyone is teasing this great prophecy.
Yes.
And even in season 3 a little bit, it's you just keep talking about it. And I personally love the decision to have it introduced earlier because, frankly, I think it heightens the stakes of everything.
The prophecy tells of a child of the eldest 3, who upon reaching 16 years of age, will become a powerful weapon.
A weapon?
The hero of the prophecy will decide the fate of Olympus. A single choice that either saves the age of the gods or destroys it.
It's probably the most consequential change that the show, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I mean, you said it's a big deal. It's a way bigger deal. I've found in writing it, and I think it's necessary. The great prophecy was always lingering in the background. Percy talks about it in the book. He knows that there is a prophecy. He says, "Oh, that's that prophecy I'm not supposed to know about, right?" Okay. Well, we're like, our Percy, I think he'd keep
dig a little deeper.
He'd keep digging, and there's
a
bit of a reference, to it. I feel in the first book when Chiron's talking to Percy at the end of camp. Now we're dealing with two prophecies, the quest prophecy
and the great
prophecy, and we're having to balance that now.
Yeah,
and it does change the way that some of the scenes and the beats, work, because they do have to take it into consideration now.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about as well the Andromeda and the rebellion, kind of camp that is living within the Andromeda. It's kind of the first time, I talked to Rick a little bit about this as well. It's the first time we see the inner workings of the rebellion army.
I mean, I do know that a lot of fans are thinking well, wait a minute, who is this Allison and why are we creating a new character? But I think it makes sense in the context of that kind of three-dimensional storytelling we were talking about earlier, in that you are able in the TV show to be with Luke and his team in a way that you simply can't do if you're in Percy's head the entire time. And so we don't really know very much about the conversations that Luke had with his team when we weren't there in the books, but now we do. So it just made sense. Well, he would have lieutenants, he would have other people on his team, he would have conversations, probably disagreements. What brought those demigods to the fight with Cronus? What convinced them that this was the right way to go? And do they agree with everything that Luke says? So Allison was really just a character that kind of helped to be a touchstone and a focal point for all those questions. Here is your sort of doorway into that world. What was it like to be a demigod working for Cronus at that time? And Allison plays that role. And she's kind of a foil for Luke, in the same way that Percy's friends are a foil for him.
How did you build that mini world?
It was tough. I mean, first of all, we're looking at making a cruise ship. There was discussion early on about do we shoot this on a Disney cruise? Can we get it? We talked about trying to, but Dan Hanna's amazing Princess Andromeda.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Incredible.
Set.
And what it looks like after all of the
Dude,
after
it looks
Eric goes
amazing.
in and does his magic.
Creates the ocean.
Man,
Creates
I
an
know.
ocean, creates an entire cruise ship is kind of incredible.
It looks so good.
Yeah, but it was a challenge too, because we couldn't build an entire cruise ship.
I
So
know.
it's what parts
a quarter
of this
of a cruise ship.
Can
We
we
had,
build?
the deck, I think.
And the I-95, right? The corridor that goes underneath. And it's also balancing. It's the first time in this season that we get into, there's a little bit, I guess, in episode 1 where you see in New York City, nobody can tell Tyson is, a Cyclops. But here we're dealing with a cruise ship full of people who do not see through the mist. And this cruise ship is secretly owned by rogue demigods.
Yeah.
The idea that there are demigods past camp who are out there in the world, like Allison Sims, like Luke is now, Luke's team, we see. There was that, and then there's the idea of rogue demigods and monsters working together under the influence of Kronos, but also as part of his pitch and Luke's philosophy that hey, why are we fighting monsters again? Because our parents tell us to. They're pitting us against each other for their own personal glory.
Exactly.
But we're all children of the gods, is what he says, and maybe there's another way to go. And the more viable that Luke's pitches are, the more of an interesting antagonist.
When you say it
He
like
is.
that, I'm like, well, that sounds lovely.
I want to.
Yeah.
I know.
Fold
It makes
immediately.
sense.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, as a writer, like, what an adaptation calls for. What changes do you believe add to the story, and what changes like drive it onwards or create like this new but still same world?
I mean, a particular challenge is taking what constitutes an episode of television.
That's true.
Right? Where it's is it just one chapter?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you do that, there's way more than 8 chapters in the
Yeah.
book.
It's like 30 episodes.
Right. So
Yeah.
we don't have that. And a lot of it's about the real estate of how much time you have. And so in taking some of the elements of where does something begin, where does it end, and then how does it progress so that you really feel like each episode also is its own specific journey. Those are the things that sometimes dictate what falls out, what stays in, what moves, what this important line that's said. You might not hear an important line that you think is really important from the book. Just wait a little bit. It might come back in another episode in another way.
So I wanted to thank you guys so much for being here and for doing this with me.
So good.
Man,
Thank you so
for having
much,
us.
Craig, Dior.
Thank you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you guys for being here.
This is your ride. Ironclad. Raised her from a watery grave and amped her up. You got a 40-millimeter bang bang on the bow, 12-pounder on the fly bridge, and 15-inch artillery on your 6, locked and loaded with 100% pure celestial bronze ammo. Boom!
I'd like to introduce our next guest, the God of War, Adam Copeland. Thank you for being here. He's currently in England, so.
I gotta tell you, that might be the coolest way I've ever been introduced.
The God of War.
I've been introduced as the God of War.
I would expect to be called that every time I walk into a room.
I kind of feel like I have to.
Yeah.
Like I might put it in a rider or something along with the purple M&Ms and whatever else I can complain about. Oh, plus I need pyro and my theme music from wrestling to go off every time I enter a room.
Exactly. In every
Is that
hotel
too much
room.
to ask?
No, that's a perfectly reasonable demand for the God of War. We can't really talk about 203 without talking about the fact that this is your first time working with Dior or Clarisse.
So when we finally got to work together this year, it was really fun because I've only played a father once before. So, and at that point, I just become a father. So this time, having more experience as an actual father under my belt, I feel like I came into it with more knowledge in how you would deal in talking. Not the way Aries does, but
and so you're
but
a very
just-
similar father to Aries in real life, right?
Yeah. If I were that, I still wouldn't be married. So
Actually, one of my questions that I wanted to ask you was, you're such a good dad in real life. Like, you are such a good example for anybody to look up to, let alone like kids, that it's weird seeing you play like an awful father. Is it difficult to be like this terrible dad when you're like genuinely such a good dad in real life?
Aries is such a fun character. I mean, the second I laid eyes on my audition sides when I got them, I went, oh man, like this is a barrel of laughs waiting to happen. Like if I could get this guy's fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I found first with Aries was the humor. And that really connected with me. And I wanted to try, if I got the role, to really focus on that. And also part of his humor is just what an arrogant, lousy God he is. And how he treats his kids. Although I do find the relationship with Clarisse so interesting.
Yeah.
And I really like that we're getting to dive into the layers of just their strange family chemistry.
Yeah. At the end of the day, she is still your daughter, and you have that scene in the diner when you have that line where you go, even my own kids. Well, I still don't like them that much.
I hate kids. All of them. I hate my own kids. Maybe less than other kids, but still not fond of them. Look what I made. What are butterflies for? My knee hurts. Ugh. I love my job. But that night, when everyone's kids show up for the winter solstice, and I have to sit through their presentation,
That night is the worst night of the year every year by far. Yeah.
You almost stop yourself from saying that you like them. Like, do you think that you're actually helping Clarisse?
I think in Aries' warped sense of worldview, that he thinks in his way he is helping her. I think he truly believes being tough on her is helping her and building her for what the world is. I mean, the guy's the god of war. He sees the worst in the world. So he wants her to be prepared for the worst in the world. And I think in his skewed view, he sees that as a way to make her better.
Like, she needs this, and that's why I'm doing it. And I love her, and that's why I'm doing it.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're going to get swallowed up, kid. I'm going to make sure you don't. I think that's how he kind of comes about it, or at least that's how that's how I've tried to enter it and come from it from that angle.
In our diner scene, which is like still one of my favorite things I've ever put on camera in my life.
Me too.
That was so much fun.
I think you got me mixed up with someone else, kid.
No, I don't.
Satyrs eat tofu. Satyrs worship flowers. Satyrs sing songs about their feelings. Satyrs are not fans of mine.
Satyrs are children of nature. Nature is brutal. Red in tooth and claw, right? Maybe unpleasant, but that doesn't make it untrue. You are the champion, all of that. I respect it.
Well, it was interesting because that was a scene I read for in my audition.
Did you really?
And yeah. So, and I really had fun with it. But obviously didn't have the props and everything that we had in the actual scene, so that just added so much more. But I found the humor in that scene in the audition, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose that. And thankfully, Jet's awesome.
She's
our
best.
director for that episode. She just said, "Keep doing what you're doing, man." Okay, awesome.
I remember she came over and like told you to do more, which was great news for you, bad news for me, but.
She pulled me aside. She goes, "Can you make the burgers jump?" I'm like, "I think we can make those burgers jump."
Yeah, I mean, you definitely did.
Thank you. I can't be the only one who sees it, right?
No, not at all.
Any child of Aries, especially Dior this season, I think their biggest challenge is when they can't just yell at something to make it go away. And I think Dior goes through that with the soldiers. She has this beautiful, like, Braveheart speech where she's like, "Aren't you tired of losing?" But she kind of says it to herself. And she has to, like, rouse her men, right? And I think it's funny that every child of Aries, including Aries himself, just cannot grasp the idea of something not submitting by force.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way of things. That's the law of the jungle. That's the rule of nature. That's how he pictures everything. And I think it dumbfounds him when he runs into things that go against that and succeed against that. I think that is what can knock Aries on his heels a little bit.
I wanted to ask, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, we haven't even talked about this yet. You got nominated for an Emmy. Dude, that's awesome.
It's kind of crazy, man. Like, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Let's put, I got the call, and I've said over the years, like, I don't know, I don't call myself an actor. I always had a problem with that for some reason. I don't know. And so when we got the call that I was nominated, Beth said, "So, are you an actor now?" Okay,
it took you getting nominated for an Emmy to call yourself an actor. Another hard pivot here. I wanted to ask, how does wrestling translate to literally being the god of war? Because, playing such a physical, a physically dominating character, is it one of those things where you kind of leave behind everything else and you're just like, this is its own thing? Or do you bring stuff from Edge into Aries?
It's interesting. I feel like with Aries, yes, there's a little bit of the pro wrestling persona or at least attitude in Ares. More so than any other character I've ever played, for sure. I felt like I was able to dip into my wrestling experience for this guy, and it would fit because he's a god, so he has to be like larger than life, and his persona has to be big, and it just has to be bigger, and that's what pro wrestling is. Because sometimes you're in a football stadium and you have to translate something to someone that's 80,000 people away. So you have to play it big. And I think theater is probably the closest thing I can think of as an example. It's theater in the round. So you have to make it huge. And I feel like those aspects I pulled with me into the performance of Ares. Like slamming the table and like, that was Pro Wrestling 101.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Dior would say this exact same thing, but getting to work with you, especially like that young on season 1, that informed so much of like what I knew I wanted to be as an adult actor. You know what I mean? Like I learned selfishly so much just by doing like a 2-minute scene with you. And I'm sure Dior would say the exact same thing, but getting to work with you was incredible.
I've loved my experience on Percy. Like it just, I'll take it with me forever, you know, and to see the joy that it's brought my daughters, you know, they absolutely love the show. And here's the thing, they would absolutely love it if I weren't on it.
Yeah. Thank you I know it's late, so I'll let you get some sleep, but thank you for being here. I love talking to you whenever I get the chance.
Thanks, and see you soon.
See you soon, man. Watch and listen to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians official podcast, available on Disney+ and wherever you get your podcasts. And don't miss Percy Jackson and the Olympians, now streaming on Disney+.